Well, hey there, brother friends and sister friends. Welcome back to the Heart Set Above podcast in our Nearness series. In our last episodes, we've talked about creating outer rhythms like pruning, reflection, and Sabbath that give us time and space to be near to God. Today, I want to shift gears to the inner world because here's the truth. Our unprocessed emotions take up a lot of time and space and energy. Just like clutter fills our homes or overcommitment fills our schedules, unresolved feelings can crowd our souls. That's why we need to do the same kind of pruning inside that we do outside, making space by actually processing what we feel. Now, I know that might sound overwhelming. Most of us never got a class called Emotional Processing 101. Right? We learned how to find the area of a triangle. We memorized the periodic table, but no one ever taught us how to simply feel our feelings. I'll never forget a client who looked at me one day with epiphany twinkling in her eye. And she said, "Ellen, I just got it. Feelings are meant to be felt." Yes, exactly. Feelings are meant to be felt. The only way out of them is through them. So one framework that I find really helpful is understanding primary and secondary emotions. Secondary emotions are the ones people see first. They're closest to the surface and they're usually protective in nature. Think things like anger, sarcasm, withdrawal, right? Think of them like shields. But beneath those shields are the primary emotions, the tender, vulnerable ones: fear, hurt, shame, grief. Those can feel so threatening that we cover them up with something that feels easier to manage, like anger or detachment. But here's the problem. We live in a culture that tells us if you're feeling anything other than joy or pleasure, something is wrong. Get rid of it, erase it, numb it. But that's not what we see in God's culture, is it? God has some big feelings, and nowhere in Scripture do we see emotions erased or fixed or pushed away. Instead, we see them expressed, felt, and then brought into relationship. What if emotions are not meant to be eliminated or obeyed blindly? What if they're just simply meant to be seen in? If we shift our view of emotions this way, everything changes. Instead of processing feelings just to get rid of them, we can sit with them in God. Those very emotions can become a bridge of nearness to Him. Because when we bring our tender primary emotions before Him, we not only understand ourselves better, we understand Him better. And when we allow ourselves to be seen in those emotions, we feel His nearness. We feel known. And that nearness is more healing than any numbing agent that this world has to offer. The truth is that you are far more emotionally resilient than you think you are. God made you to be able to withstand big, tender, difficult feelings. But He never intended for you to withstand them alone. To process emotions effectively, we must do it in God's arms, near to Him, allowing ourselves to be seen and held. Every emotion carries both truth and distortion, which means when we feel a big feeling, we need to pause and discern what is true here. What part of this emotion echoes God's own heart that I can feel alongside of Him? And then we need to figure out what is distorted, shaped by my pain, my baggage, or the fallenness of this world. The more we can submit that distortion to God's grace and connect with Him in the truth embedded in our feelings, the more our emotions become places of intimacy instead of isolation. And let me just say this. Sometimes our bodies and our brains need some extra help. There's no shame in therapy or in medication when it's needed. Those things don't make you less faithful. They can actually free up capacity so that you can engage more fully with God and with others. So, brother friends and sister friends, when those big emotions rise up this week, I want you to try something different. Instead of rushing to fix them or pushing them away, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling beneath the surface? What's the tender primary emotion underneath this shield? And then bring that before God. Let him see you in it. Let yourself feel it with him. Remember, feelings are meant to be felt, and the safest place to feel them is in God's presence. Because when we allow ourselves to be seen in our emotions, we find that we're not just carrying them alone. We are being carried even in them. Thanks for joining me today. May you find the courage this week to sit with God in your feelings, and may his nearness bring you more healing than any quick fix this world has to offer.